welcome or welcome back. So today's video is going to be a little different, as you saw from the title. The month of April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I wanted to share with you some resources, my experiences, what I got from a certain type of therapy that helped me, that could help you or somebody you know who has been through something similar, all that information. With me, I have my laptop with my notes, as well as my binder that I used to help me heal from what I've been through. To some who know me dearly, it may not come as a surprise to you, but I have been sexually assaulted multiple times in my life. I have been discredited about it. I've been told that I'm property and that's why it happened to me, and so many other things. It took a while. I feel like finally I'm getting closer to where I want to be. Why not share the information that I have with you? Because so many people don't know about the resources that I'm going to share with you today. And it really could have changed my life for the better if I had known these things sooner. In this day and age, sexual assault is so common. I feel like it was common back then too, but now more people are talking about it. There's more resources to help each other with going through all the healing and things like that, but more can be done, and we're going to talk about that in this video. So as I said, I've been sexually assaulted multiple times in my life. What I'm going to start with is, first of all, by saying I'm not going to disclose details or anything like that just because I don't have to, and I would not like to, and I don't feel comfortable doing so. And you don't have to either. No matter who asks you, you don't have to say anything that you're not comfortable with saying. I'm just very open, but to an extent. I've been on a self-help, personal development type of journey for a couple of years now. I can't pinpoint when it started, but I know that ever since, I've been directing my attention and focus to certain parts of my life that I wanted to focus on and grow in. And one of the things that I knew was eating me from within, mostly in specific parts of my life, was the abuse that I had gone through, my trauma. I had always seen on TV how they have like support groups and things like that, and like Alcoholics Anonymous or something like that. And I don't know, you know how when they show like in the movies that it's like a whole group just sitting around in a circle talking about what they've been through and their experiences, and you know, saying their name and age and what they were there for and things like that. That's what prompted me to look into a support group. I thought it was just like that, and I figured I don't have a big support group as it is. My friends come and go. My family's not very large, and I'm not very close with a lot of them. So I figured, what better way to develop and establish a support group than looking one up. So that's what I did. I called up some of my old therapists from the past because I've seen many different mental health professionals since I was 9 years old. That means psychiatrists, counselors, therapists, you name it. I had seen them since I was 9. Many of them I had changed when I felt like it wasn't working out. And I just Googled support systems for sexual abuse, right? Or support groups or therapy groups, things like that. I Googled it, and I would just call up numbers until something came up. So I came across RTC, which is Rape Treatment Center. And basically, it's a center where people go if you, by the way, I'm going to leave all the resources in the description below. It's a center where if you have gotten raped, molested, any kind of sexual assault, you would go to this place. You can go right after an incident has happened, which is great because they can test you and everything and do what they need to do. It sounds gruesome, and I wish I knew about it sooner because people would be in jail if I did. And they're still out probably hurting other people, maybe not even knowing it. And basically what they do is they have different resources and different ways that they can help you. So one of the ways is that they have support groups. They have one-on-one therapy, which is just talk therapy or CBT therapy. They have paint therapy. And like I said, they are a walk-in kind of service. So you can go in 24 hours, 7 days a week. Say something happened to you. You go in, they do the testing. They have investigators, police, whoever else they need to basically investigate the case and see what they can do about it from there and offer you whatever help it is you need. I've never used it in that sense because by then the incidents that I'd gone through had already happened, and now I just needed post-trauma healing help, but that was an option that they offered. What I used when I was there was the paint therapy, the therapy group or support group, and the one-on-one therapy. What was it like? Every one-on-one therapy session was an hour long. There were 2 therapists. They assigned you to one. First, they assess whether or not you'd be a good fit for whichever resources they have available. And they assess you by asking you, you know, what you have gone through, as well as what you want to get from the experience there with them. Then when you're finally in the program and when they're finally helping you out with everything, they give you a binder and they provide you with worksheets and stuff like that to do your homework on. Worksheets are meant to help you work through your trauma on pen and paper. They have assignments for you asking you to name what your beliefs are about certain things in certain areas of your life. And I know this is a very vague explanation, but first of all, I'm sure that these centers work differently for each state and each center. So the information I'm providing you is just based on my experience. So the way it worked, once you were already in the system, getting the therapy and using the resources that they provided you with, they would basically break it down into different sessions and different topics for each session. So they gave you worksheets to focus on certain things like trust, intimacy, safety, etc. Before getting into all that, they did something very common, which is called a safety plan. Many times people who have gone through trauma are suicidal, are depressed, and things of this nature. So they made a safety plan for me, and the way it basically worked is they ask you certain questions like, who can you go to if you need to be distracted? What can you do if you don't feel safe? Who can you talk to about these certain situations that's happened to you? If you're not in therapy or you have no one else around, how can you make your environment safer? Steps you could take on getting out of the unsafe situation if you are currently in one, coping skills that you can use, things that you find joy and value in, big and small, when it comes to living and your reasons to live and things like that. Before going into this, I was a crisis counselor for some months, and I had to make a few sacrifices, and I wanted to share those sacrifices with you just so that you know what you're getting into. The first one that I had no problem making, honestly, right off the bat, was cutting people off that didn't support or believe my situation. I had to distance myself. Another sacrifice that I had to make was time. To get there was 3 hours, and to come back home was 3 hours, and then staying there was about an hour, but well worth it, especially because it was free. Also, I get the stigma that there is with you get what you pay for, and I always thought like that, but this therapy was the best that I have ever had and experienced within the 14 years that I've been in therapy. The sacrifices I had to make included, but were not limited to, having to stop working or volunteering as a crisis counselor. It wasn't good for my mental health. It wasn't helping me because I am very empathetic. So the problems that people were writing in about, I felt the weight of as well, on top of me trying to heal from my own pain and my own experiences. I had to stop that temporarily if I wanted to see results. What I would suggest to you is first to make a safety plan. I'm sure there are templates for this on Google and things like that. The next thing I recommend you do is to make a list of coping mechanisms that you could use. Would I recommend it? 100%. To who? Anybody who has experienced sexual assault, sexual abuse in any way. Rape, molestation, groping, you name it. Sexual assault is an umbrella that covers all these terms. And if you're unclear of what that means, or you're unclear of if it's a good fit for you, or you're not sure if what you had been through qualifies as one of those, you can call them up, you can speak to them. It's anonymous. They don't have to know who you are. But I think we need to start speaking up more and faster. Had I known that what I had been through was a certain type of sexual assault, I would have reported it. I would have probably saved a person or more from going through the same exact thing that I had gone through with these same people. So I encourage you to get help and speak your truth. So where can you get resources to find out about things like these? First and foremost, if you or somebody you know is in immediate danger, please reach out to the crisis text line, the suicide hotline, websites, resources, and everything I'm gonna have in the description. But reach out. You have to want to help yourself. I know people that have been through something similar, maybe, and I know people who have been through something like I know people who have been sexually assaulted, and they simply don't want help. And that's okay. For some time, I wasn't ready either. It took me to a certain point where I realized, okay, finally, it's time to turn things around and really work on this. But it's so much easier, and I understand this, to put your thoughts, feelings, trauma in a box and just hide it away. If you want to see a better tomorrow, you gotta work on it today. If you want to see a better tomorrow, you gotta work on it today. You have to want it for yourself. Let's say you're a friend of somebody who's been through something like this, they have to want it for themselves. You can help them as much as you want, but until they want it for themselves, they're not going to get the help that they need. Either way, I urge you to spread the word about this kind of thing so that people know the resources out there. If I had only known earlier, but now I know, and I'm here to share it with you so you can pass it on. When I was younger, like in middle school, high school, I would use crisis text line that I now volunteer for, and they help with anything that you want to talk about. They give you resources as well, just ask for them. The same goes for the suicide hotline. Even like free resources or cheap resources for those of low income, they're out there. You just have to look. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me on my Instagram, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm gonna leave the rape treatment center information for Miami listed below, but if you have any for other states or other counties like that, please leave it in the comments. Let us know. Keep each other informed, because if you don't spread the word, this is how the problem grows. It goes unknown, unseen, unheard of, unnoted, and we can't do anything about it then. And that's how the problem keeps growing, because that person keeps on hurting more and more people, and somebody has to put a stop to it. And this is how you can. Just share, because you never know. People are not as open as this. People are not gonna go and tell you what they've been through or what happened to them. Even people that you would have never suspected. Guys go through this as well. Thank you so much for your time. As always, I appreciate it greatly, and I hope to see you for the next video.